celebration.
Welcome back to Bloomington with live election coverage 2016 here at Indiana University at the Media School. It's alive here. They just finished a panel discussion behind us, and now everyone is glued to the TV watching the results come in. And we have a few results for you as well that we want to get to, and we'll put them up here on the screen and take a look at. We're going to skip that right now, and we're going to go live to Meredith, who's standing by with House Speaker Brian Bosma. Go ahead, Meredith.
Hi, Joe. I'm here with Speaker Brian Bosma. Brian, Indiana was one of the first races nationally called for Donald Trump and Mike Pence. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, well, I was a little surprised it was called so quickly with only 6% of the vote reported. It doesn't include a lot of Democrat precincts in northwest Indiana and in central Indiana that are notoriously slow on reporting, but confident that it was going to be a victory tonight for them, and it's great to be on the board first.
We're still waiting to hear about the races, Holcomb, Young, and McCormick. How are you feeling about those?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a long night on those. Again, the polls in Lake County were just closed about an hour and 15 minutes ago. So we're not going to know those results, and it's a substantial portion of the vote statewide. So we're optimistic. We haven't made any presumptions yet, and regardless of the result of those races, the legislative leadership is going to continue to lead Indiana in the right direction.
And can you talk a little bit about the atmosphere here tonight at the GOP headquarters here in Indianapolis?
Yeah, it's exciting. Clearly, people have come out and have stated by their casting their vote and by their volunteerism that they want to change Washington, and they want to keep Indiana on the same track that it's on today. So that it's filling the room. It's very vibrant, more than I've seen in a long time, and we're excited about that.
Are Indiana GOP leaders expecting good news the rest of the night?
Well, we're hopeful for good news. I've been around long enough that I don't take too much for granted. So we're watching closely. We're very optimistic, but we're not making any presumptions.
Thanks so much. Speaker Brian Bosma. Back to you, Joe.
Okay, thank you very much there, Meredith, and who was reporting live from the Republican Watch Party. And we're back here in Bloomington with Bernard Fraga, the Indiana University Department of Political Science assistant professor who's been with us tonight. He's going to stick with us for one more. Thank you so much for being here. I see you here. You are glued, of course, to your computer as well, and you're making a lot of noises. What are you seeing?
So what we're seeing is that, as I mentioned earlier, Trump appears to be doing better than expected in Indiana. Everyone knew he was going to win, maybe win by 10 points, 12 points. We're looking more at like 18-point win right now. That's just really, really difficult for a Democrat statewide to win when you're talking about the top of the ticket getting 18-point margin over, the Democrat. So I think that what you're seeing now is that while Greg and Bai are outperforming Hillary Clinton in the state, the chances don't look very good, especially for Evan Bai. I think this will be called relatively soon.
I wanted to ask you really quick too, just about in the presidential race. It seems like we've lost some of the fact that how much history is being made tonight too with either candidate, the first woman, or of course someone who has never really been in politics before.
That's right.
How is all this playing out?
Well, I think that what you're seeing now is with Donald Trump being a unique kind of a candidate, it wasn't always clear how things were going to go. Who's his base of support going to be? Who's he going to be relying on? Can he actually mobilize voters? All of the political scientists, all of the media, many of the media pundits said there's no chance that he can win. And I think what he's showing based on his performance in Indiana and Florida, where he's tied, perhaps even ahead, is that he actually can do this. He can actually run a campaign, that his strategy might be working. Now, we have a lot more votes to count. We'll see what happens, and the chances are still pretty good for Hillary Clinton, but I think Trump is doing better than expected.
And before you leave us tonight, just a few of the things that we should look for as the night goes on.
I think we have to pay attention to Florida and North Carolina. The idea was if those states fell for Clinton early, this would be over by about 9:30. It looks like Florida might actually be a Trump victory. Maybe a narrow Clinton victory, but Trump has a better chance of winning than Clinton does there right now. So we are going to be up for a while. I think we're talking about 11:30 before we know potentially who the president is going to be.
How about here in Indiana?
Here in Indiana, I think that the Senate race will be called relatively soon. I think that with the governor's race, it might be closer for a while, but I think, it's looking pretty good for the Republicans right now.
Okay, thank you very much. I hear we have some more results to put up on the screen for you. Here is the U.S. Senate with Todd Young right now at 53%, well, we'll call it 54% of the vote. Governor Eric Holcomb there at 53% of the vote. John Gregg, a Democratic candidate, trailing Trey Hollingsworth, the Republican, at 54%, Shelley Yoder, 42%. Attorney General, a graphic we haven't seen yet tonight, the Republican Curtis Hill, they're in a big lead at 65%. And I think we may have one more. Now we're going to head back to Peter, I believe, with the Indiana Public Broadcasting, who is talking about another race that we haven't talked yet about, and that is the State Superintendent of Public Instruction. Peter, are you there?
Hey, Joe. Yeah, how are you doing?
Yeah, what's the latest well, first of all, where are you and what's the latest?
So I'm here at the Indiana Convention Center. It's the Indiana Dems headquarters for the evening. And we have a handful of RIP supporters who are here in the crowd tonight, and actually spoke with a handful of them who are teachers. Some teachers, a fourth grade teacher from Frankfurt and a high school special ed teacher in Spencer. And they were a little apprehensive about what they're seeing, with RIP kind of trailing in the polls at the moment. They said they were at dinner when they first saw the news and actually screamed. But they are not losing faith. They still say they've been RIP supporters since her initial run, and would like to see her come through.
Peter, you're, of course, one of our education reporters for Indiana Public Broadcasting, and I don't know if we were able to have that full screen up, but the last I saw, and I'm having trouble trying to find it right now, but Glenda Ritz is actually trailing. Is this surprising to you?
I think one of the big things that might be influencing this tonight is, although Ritz has led a more visible campaign, people are voting down the ballot along the party lines. We already saw that Indiana went to Donald Trump, the Republican presidential nominee, so people were just going straight down the line. So that could explain a lot of votes going to McCormick. She has led somewhat of a more quiet campaign than we saw 4 years ago for the superintendent position. But the RIP supporters here are saying that, the battle's not over, and despite the lead, they still think she can pull ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, Peter. We'll be checking in with you, and we'll be checking in throughout the night here from the media school at Indiana University. It's election night 2016. Now back to PBS NewsHour.